Happy Monday, folks. Welcome to TGL. My name is Grindhead Jim. Let's get into it. I see a bunch of people in chat. I'm happy that you're all here. I see Boba Hicks, Ian Sweeney, Billy Wifta, Gojatron, Ricky, a.k.a. Star Fox Rain. Tricky one, that guy. Jason Garcia, and Better Ray Bob so far. I know there's probably more of you sitting around here. Don't be afraid to participate. That's what we're here to do. I also want to say right off the bat, thanks for watching the new intro. I hope you enjoyed it. It's probably going to get tweaked here and there, but that's what I've been going for this whole time, so I hope you enjoyed it. And also, today we are going to be debuting that new feature that we talked about, which is having anyone who's a YouTube member or Patreon member or Twitch subscriber have the opportunity to hop into what we're calling the TGL panel towards the end of the show. And we are going to be discussing today's topic in that way. So, if you're a member on YouTube or you are a member on Patreon, there are posts on each where you can go ahead and get the link for that. You're not going to need to jump in right away. Just jump in, a little bit later. We'll bring you in as necessary. So, welcome everyone to the show. And I see a few more people trickling in here. I see Just Jeff. I see Bear 11 Charlie, Giraffe, and Stephen S. as well. Welcome. So, as is customary with the show, a little bit of a catch-up here since last week. Things are going well here. I've been doing the job search thing and back and forth and all that fun stuff. It's doing what it's supposed to do, you know. I have more energy than I've had in a while, and I'm getting more consistent with my sleep and all that fun stuff, so things are good here. And we're gearing up for, you know, as they say, like, today's the first day of the rest of your life. And we're definitely living that, because it's one thing that I've learned over the last 2 years at least. It's that things will sneak up on you. So we've even actually started looking at the housing market more seriously, so that we know what to expect when we sell the condo and buying a house and all that. So that's exciting, actually. We're getting a lot of cool ideas, and it seems even more feasible. We're going to get a really cool TGL headquarters, so it'll be cool. But that's at least a year away. But we did go ahead and sign the renewal here in the apartment, so we're secure with our place to live for that amount of time, and they took good care of us on that front. So things are very happy here. So appreciate all the support you guys are giving us. I do have a few videos that are in the dryer, so to speak. I'm getting some things done. Don't know when they'll come out, so I'm not going to tell you. But they will arrive when they're meant to. I will also precede that as far as pickups go, we really haven't had anything because we haven't gone to the box in a very long time. So we need to go this week and pick up the stuff, because I'm going to have much more pickups to go over next week when I have the things to show. We've gotten some stuff, I just have nothing to show, so I'm not going to go over that part of the show today. And also with 3D printing, I'll go ahead and take care of that segment here as well. Still printing action figure stands and other basics here and there. Been experimenting with a couple different filaments, trying to make sure I get something that's right. A couple friends of mine, and they know who they are. There are some things I need to print for them, and I need to make sure that it's going to stand up for them. So I've been doing some testing with that a little bit, but that's slow going. And so it's like more of the same stuff, but then also trying to experiment with new stuff. You get the idea. But I do appreciate you guys here in chat saying some nice things here as well. So, with all of that said, we're going to get into some pre-orders here. I'm actually going to start this week with something a little bit different. We're going to start with movies. So, Shout Factory is my go-to when it comes to movie releases for a few different reasons. They tend to put out the best quality product of older movies, and they tend to kind of be the litmus by which I compare all their other stuff out to. And the mainstream stuff that's newer movies coming out, like, you're bound to be aware of that. So I want to kind of show you guys some of the stuff that's either up for pre-order or back in stock, of things you may not even know existed. Now, Shout Factory is a good place to get this stuff, but if you go to Amazon, these same editions are available, often at a lower price, sometimes the same. It's really up to you which direction you go in. But if it comes to a pre-order, I would recommend doing the pre-order with Shout Factory, because oftentimes they'll give you extra goodies like posters and stuff. All right, so we have a bunch of different things here. I'm not going to go over every little thing here. For example, like Jason Garcia's calling out the Carpenter stuff. Plenty of Carpenter stuff there. Steven also bringing up Arrow. Arrow is a great company as well. I'll probably be focusing on them from here and there, because again, every week to week it's going to be something different, right? Hi TJC, I see ya. So Escape from New York, that's a 4K collector's edition that's coming out. There's a lot of good special features on that. The They Live Steelbook. I have the version of They Live that's not in a steelbook. It's a really, really, really good edition. And for that price, definitely worth the extra artwork. I love a good steelbook. You got Prince of Darkness here. Moving forward, we got Big Trouble Little China. That really is the definitive release of the film. If you don't have this already, get this version. If you do have it, consider replacing it, because the transfer really is that good. Better Ray Bob commenting that classic Tokusatsu, that's a little collection looks interesting. I'll have to see what all is on there. Well, let's look at it right now. So it has, so the poster's sold out, so anywhere you can get it, you're good. This is a limited edition set, so don't sleep on it if you're into it. Looks like it's got 4 discs, no closed captioning, but you have English or Japanese. I have a feeling that the subtitles are there, but they're not using a traditional closed captioning system, because you do have subtitles here in English. All right. So, so they have some expanded things they haven't put in the description. So it has Prince of Space. I remember Prince of Space from Mystery Science Theater 3000. So they've got the Planet Prince, Terrifying Spaceship sequel, and then Golden Ninja and Golden Bat. So they've got the Japanese versions, and then as well as the TV version of those 2 films put together, plus the Golden Ninja series as well. That's what it looks like they have on here. And when this brand new, oh, it says right here, English language subtitle translations for Prince of Space, Invasion of Neptune Men, Watara the Ninja Boy, Golden Ninja, Dragon Showdown, and Ninja Scopes. There's a bunch of stuff on here. I have a feeling more is going to be, they always release more details as they get closer to release, so keep your eye on this, and if you're into this sort of thing, it's pretty cool. And I wouldn't have realized I had Prince of Space on it from MST3K. It'd be cool if they could have gotten some, like, cross rights and gotten the Prince of Space MST3K on there, but, you know, what can you do? Loggers Layers in the house, good to see you. And let's see, it's everybody else. Okay. Oh, hey, no worries, Better Ray. That's what we're here for, okay? Thinner, which is one of those blink and you miss it Stephen King films. It's got a cult following. That's a good release as well. And just take my word for it. Anything from Shout Factory is going to have as many special features as they can possibly get on there. And even if they don't have any special features, the transfer is always really, really good, okay? I like this, a 4K remaster dual feature of Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2. That to me is, that's something. They recently did remasters on the entire original Halloween line of 4K. So this one here is showing Season of the Witch. But they have all the Halloween movies in 4K. Really good transfers. This Fly collection, it was something that was going to go out of print, but they sold a bunch of the last second, so they printed more. Get this set. I managed to get it for around 40 bucks on Amazon, but it is worth every penny, even if all you watch are the 2 newer Fly films. The special features are insane, but you also get the 3 classic Fly movies from back in the day, all on brilliant transfers. It's a great thing. Pumpkinhead, Creepshow 4K, The Burning, which is an often overlooked slasher ripoff, but it's a good movie in 4K. The new Child's Play, which I won't watch, but it looks like it's a good addition. You get Shocker, which is a fun throwaway film from Wes Craven. Clue, I didn't even know they were doing a 4K upgrade of that. We're probably going to have to get that because Lauren's a huge fan of the game. I've never seen the movie. I think she's seen the movie, and we'll have to get it now because she's into it, Return of the Living Dead in 4K. If it has the same features as the original Blu-ray, which I believe it does, this is a no-brainer because it's beautifully filmed. Oh, here you go. So you have all this great... Look at all these features, man. They have a bunch of audio commentaries, different sound mixes. It is HDR10 compatible, which is good if you have a 4K TV with HDR10. And you also get... Okay, you get the documentary. This documentary is worth the price of admission alone. It is such an entertaining documentary, informative, and you have a ton of features on here, okay? But if you have the Blu-ray already, you have all of this, okay? You have all of it already. The 4K transfer is the only new feature, and it's a 2022 scan of the negative. So if you already have it on Blu-ray, and you don't feel like you need it in 4K, maybe don't get it. But if you don't have Return of the Living Dead, and you've ever liked that movie, or even if you're just on the fence, dude, just buy it. I'm telling you, dude. It's a great movie, and the features are crazy good. What, Jim? How could you not? No, Shocker was a lot of fun, man. I'm going to check in with chat here, guys. Bear 11 Charlie says, Charlie, how could you... Yeah. How could I not have seen Clue? I was watching other stuff. Ricky just got his 4K HDR Super Mario Brothers. Oh, the OG one? Why would you do that to yourself? Steven says, love seeing 70s, 80s, and obscure 90s films being rescued after exquisite treatment. Yeah. Shout is great for that. Arrow's really good for that. TSC says, is that the one when the zombie asked them to send more paramedics? Yes. That is the one. Buy it. It is such a good film. We laughed like hyenas watching that one. And so let's go back here. Day of the Dead Collector's Edition, which is really good. You get Starman. And, of course, you get the Friday the 13th collection, which has been around for a while. And sometimes you can see a price drop to around $100 for this. But this is every Friday the 13th film ever made. It's one of the few times they've had everything in one set. And not only do you get all the films, you get the best possible transfers of each, all the best special features of each. And I think they even have Crystal Lake Memories included with it, I think. It's a really great set. If you don't have it, get it. Night of the Creeps Classic, Halloween 2, Company of Wolves is hard to come by these days. You got The Howling, Darkman 4K coming out. The Fog. I mean, the list goes on. There's so much good stuff in here. Even newer stuff like the Ring Collection, TerrorVision and Video Dead. They're resurrecting a lot of older films that have a cult classic on VHS and really doing something special with them. So, again, there's 30 pages of this stuff, and I just want to say, like, if you're not already doing it with Shout Factory, you should buy it dinner, you know what I'm saying? So, it's definitely worth your time. So, Shout Factory, check that out. And again, you'll be able to see it on Amazon and stuff like that as well. See, there you go. Jason Garcia says, holy shit, The Entity. I haven't seen that in like 20 years. That's what I'm saying. Before I started collecting toys, during the pandemic, I was recollecting movies again and buying crazy amounts of movies each paycheck. And Shout Factory got a lot of my money doing that, which is kind of cool. And I agree, Joneser, Darkman's very underrated. One of my favorite movies. I don't think I've shown it to Lauren yet. We'll have to watch that tonight if she's into it. Starman, Night of the Creeps. Yeah. What about on cartoons, World Made of Carbon Ass? They have some, but you'd have to look under TV. So let me, just for the sake of argument, let me see if I can pull up here. Okay, so under kids animation, for example, okay, we've got the Transformers, the movie 4K. Yep, they did that. And I have it. It's really good. I got the newer My Little Pony. They've got Totoro stuff, Last Unicorn, G.I. Joe the movie on Blu-ray, which that's a great addition as well. The Transformers animated. Yes, they did that. The DVD collection, which is really good. The G.I. Joe one. So this is where they got their start, really. You have Mask in here, the complete series, which I didn't. They just released this recently. I have yet to get this, but I need to get my hands on it. Transformers Prime, Underdog. Again, there's 6 pages of this stuff. I'll just randomly go to page 3. If you just want the Mass Device miniseries, you can get that for $6. They have different like story arcs, but they have complete sets. Some Sesame Street stuff. You know, depending on what you're into, there's a ton of stuff here. And then if you go to TV, and then you go to animation for TV specifically, you get a bit more of a mix match. You got Wallace and Gromit. I mean, if you're a fan of that stuff, Alf, you can get Alf from these guys. Neo Genesis Evangelion, more My Little Pony stuff with different seasons. Code Monkeys, which is one of those obscure little references. Jimmy Neutron, Stingray, Mr. Magoo. That's a nice set if you're into that. What else? BoJack Horseman, which is a Netflix thing, so it's kind of cool. You can get it on physical media. Cat Dog, Thunderbirds, Casper, Gem. You see where I'm going here? These guys got a little bit of everything. Okay? So if you're into it, I'm telling you. Before toys, you were movies too? Yeah, and I still do that. That's the thing. Books before toys? Fair. Steven says, damn it, Jim, you're bringing me back. Been collecting old films from my youth. Have a good collection, but always looking for prime editions. Hey, man. Shout Factory. Ian Sweeney bringing up Fireball XL5 killer theme song. Jason Garcia says, reboot. Gand Alf. There you go. Yes, Alf does end on a cliffhanger. That is true, technically. But yeah, so whatever it is you're into, they probably have you taken care of, all right? So from here, we are going to go ahead and get into toys. And this one's a price drop that I saw earlier today. I'm just refreshing the page to make sure it's still there. Okay, good. So Marvel Legends people, if you want a decent Doctor Doom, get this. This is basically a revamp of the Secret Wars style Doctor Doom. You get the unhooded and hooded Victor Von Doom. You also get like a removable mask, some alternate hands, and they give you a free Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel with it for $31. It was $24 earlier today, but that's a hell of a good deal on this. And if you don't have a traditional Doctor Doom, get this one. And then go over to Cape Master, have them make you a cape, right? This is a great Doctor Doom. It works really, really well. I cannot stress this enough. I have this set. I love this Doctor Doom almost more than I love my Fantastic Four retro card of Doctor Doom. I don't know how to tell you. Salzburg says, damn you, IRS, I want that, and I owe them too much. Scratch. I hear you. Now, if any of those Blu-ray sets we were looking at, you want one of them, though, again, on Amazon, sometimes you can get a better price. Sometimes Shout does great sales. So don't let FOMO take over. You know, you'll be okay. All right. Getting into Big Bad, we've got some pre-order stuff. I had this all in order, but I screwed something up with Chrome, so they're all over the place, so there's not in a particular order anymore. But this is a Colossus and Juggernaut 2-pack reissue. Now, I have a knockoff of the Marvel Selects, I believe, version of this, or it's a knockoff of this version that Salzburg sent me, which I love, and I have the Marvel Select Colossus, so I don't have any need for this, but I'll tell you something, it's still tempting because these guys look great. Really worth it. For 75 bucks for the two of them, 76 bucks for the two of them, really oversized figures, and they're really strong characters, it's worth it. Yeah, the Select one, oh, it's a great Juggernaut. It's a great Juggernaut, for sure. But look into this. It's the 80th anniversary. It's a reissue. Again, these are all randomized. This is an Ernie plush. They also have Bert. I have that pulled up here as well. Which, you know, what are you going to do? I love Bert and Ernie. I've always loved Bert and Ernie, and I'm on the fence about getting these. I just don't know where we'd put them. This is a 1/18 scale Joy Toy Cyclone Assault Armored Car. It looks really detailed, has lots of parts on it. I don't know that I like the $100 price tag. But if you're wanting something new and different and maybe more realistic, I've seen worse for the money, obviously. And it's 1/18 scale. How often do you see something fully detailed like that at that price? Not too often. I think the paint deco and the details on the decoration is really what sells it for me. But again, just want to let you guys know that this exists. This is up for pre-order. Looks to be arriving in April of this year. We got up for pre-order a whole wave of Marvel Legends out there. The one that I'm most interested in is this Cable. I think he looks great. It's Cable. I mean, what do you want? It's Cable. I think it comes down to what version of him that you want. I don't know that I would call this a definitive version, but it's a very good version of Cable. And you get a kitty leg with it, too, because they have that Build-A-Figure. For those of you that want the Zabu Build-A-Figure, if you would rather than buying the whole wave, which would entail so that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters you'd have to buy that maybe you don't want, which would be at a bare minimum $125. Nerdzoic is doing where they'll sell the Build-A-Figure separate. I think it's like $100, but it's technically saving you money and not overloading you with extra stuff. If that's what you want, you can get it. So that is a thing that exists. This is the 30th anniversary Spawn. One of the 30th anniversary Spawn figures that are out there with Al just kind of being all stoic and shit. It's a nice figure, and the price is really good for as good as this sculpt appears to be. If he came with a masked head, it'd be a no-brainer buy for me. But it probably is not going to be a thing for me. I'm going to go ahead and come back here and talk to you guys here in the chat. 75 for like a kick to the pants for the two figures. Well, the Juggernaut's like this fucking big. It's a big boy, and so is Colossus. These are oversized figures. They're probably $69.99 on other sites. Big Bad always prices up a bit. $35 for each of those, I think, is not horrible. But also, when's the last time you saw a Colossus, a decent, classic-looking Colossus, anywhere on a shelf? So it's a question of what you prefer. Salzburg likes that 1/18 scale ride. Jason Garcia, I'll just live the fucked up semester with Bert and Ernie. There you go. Memes. I meant memes. Ozzy's in the house over on Twitch. Nice to see you. Just Jeff says, Cable needs more pouches. I agree. And Ozzy's here too. And Goji says, I'll just give away the Zabu figs I don't want. There you go. And I totally get that aspect of it too. But I wanted to let people know that that's out there because, hey, $25 is $25. It's not for me. These classic versions of these characters, I'm like, I don't want any of them. But I'm glad they're there for everyone else. That's for sure. So moving back over here, we've got, I don't know who this is for. It's a $70 articulated Bat Bugs figure. I don't know what's up. I don't understand. Like, is this a thing? Should this exist? I don't know. I really don't know. But he's there. You know, okay, whatever. But it is what it is. Now they just got there's some new stock in here as well. This is the Marvel 112 Collective Amazing Spider-Man Deluxe Edition. I did get one of these. It's extremely similar to the 112 version Mezco did a couple years back that I got from Mr. Largo. But with the extra features on him, I thought he was worth looking into. So we got him, and he's waiting at the mailbox. I've yet to open him, but it's a decent figure. The price tag I know is a bit much, but he's there if you want him. He is in stock. Next, we have a NECA Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 Ultimate Freddy figure. So you get a really great model of Freddy, and arguably the best Freddy makeup that ever existed. You've got the brain thing, you've got the flame, you've got different... I didn't realize it came with the fucking dog. That's pretty cool. It's a nice little set for what it is. I'm by no means a NECA apologist at this point. I have some NECA figures that just arrived that I haven't opened yet. And if those give me the warm and fuzzies, I might pick something like this up. But this might be one of my favorite Freddys that NECA has done yet. And you can get them over there right now. They have Castle Grayskull back in stock from Origins for $85, which is way higher than market right now. I've seen it as low as $35. But if you really want to get it from Big Bad, he's there. You got a Bandai Namco Final Wars Godzilla for $20. He's a 6.5-inch tall, so he's going to scale with a lot of other stuff out there. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I didn't even know this was a thing. They got the WWE Masters of the WWE Universe in a 3-pack wave. So you get your Steve Austin, Rey Mysterio, and Chyna in one package for a not horrible price. And you can use the Steve Austin to, make the frickin' not the Keldor, but Kronos, make him a useful figure. And the same could be said for Rey Mysterio and switching up with Stratos to make some cool stuff. I think the Chyna figure is just cool. So again, I didn't even realize they were doing this. So clearly they're getting some, some overstock and stuff like that. So again, if it's your thing, it's there for sure. And for customizers, there's some really interesting parts you can get. And those are kind of hard to get a hold of these days. So, getting back here with you guys. Much cheaper bonfire fuel out there. Yep. Jessica Garcia says it'd make more sense if it was Daffy, but then again, it would be Darkwing. I agree. But that's Disney, though. That means even weirder. Goji says there are tons of Warner Brothers 100-year anniversary mashup figs coming out this year. Saw Bugs Bunny and the Mystery Machine today. So stupid. TJC is in the house too. I don't know if I mentioned that before. You have the Roddy Piper. Yeah, that's one I've been looking for. Not necessarily the WWE Universe, but the classics. I keep meaning to get him. But the Master of the WWE Universe stuff is really good for parts, if nothing else. And to see them represented on Big Bad was a big surprise. I wanted to show you guys. So, just arrived in is this Slag, and Daniel Witwicky figures together. I don't know why his face is covered. Daniel's face is covered. Maybe he has a pimple or something. I don't know. But he's there. Regular price. Dinobots are fucking expensive. This one's for the Badger. Jada Toys, Street Fighter, a bunch of characters that just came in stock, and Chun-Li's just one of them. We like our thick girls around here. The Jada Toys Street Fighter stuff is just wonderful. A bunch of Action Force and Valiverse stuff is in stock right now. This is the ghillie suit, the Arctic sniper suit, for $25. You get some weapons. You get the sniper rifle, a case for that, and the ghillie suit. That's a really good price for what it is. I love the thing. So there you go. They also got the tactical headgear. I'm getting this set eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it. Blowback Deluxe Sniper. So he's got everything. He's all painted up. He's got his camo uniform, 2 other heads, helmets, earphones, and all his other crap, bunch of guns and belts and shit, and a ghillie suit. And he's $54. Now, if you figure that the sniper and the ghillie suit alone are worth $25, right? And a regular figure usually goes around 25 to 30. The $55 price tag is not bad at all. And he's in deluxe packaging rather than the card back that most stuff's coming out on now. So when I first saw this figure, it was a lot of sticker shock, but I think he's worth the money. So smoke if you got him. He's right there. Okay, they got the Arctic Steel Brigade. I gotta draw the line somewhere. I'm not doing Arctic, nothing pretty much for them, for Action Force. It's a really cool thing. I'm glad they exist, just not for me. This is an interesting thing. They got the 5-pack in of the classic reissues. They've got April O'Neil. They've got Mondo Gecko and Fish Fillet and Ray Fillet, excuse me, Krang and Rocksteady. You can also get Mondo Gecko separately through Big Bad. The rest of these are only available in this pack, at least as far as I can tell, on Big Bad. I have Krang and Rocksteady. I really don't want to pay that price for these. The only one of these I really want would be April. I could be persuaded to keep Mondo Gecko because I did have him. He's great. This 5-pack, though, is very tempting just because of April. I've yet to find April. So if you're looking for her and you want to spend the money, there it is. And it's in stock, ready to ship right now. They just brought in a reissue of Merman. I know he's been hard to get a hold of over the years. If you need an Origins Merman, there you go. It's right there. It's available. Right there. If you've been holding out on Triclops because you didn't like the Revolutions Masterverse version, here's the new Eternia version, which looks really good to me. I've often said that had I known where Masterverse was headed when they started that line, I might have gone that direction instead of Origins. But I'm very happy with Origins, and I'm not doing Masterverse, but goddamn, that Triclops is great, and the price you can't beat. So, you know, if you want a good-looking Triclops, there you go. From Happy Cat Super Action stuff, we got this Casket of Cruelty. This isn't something new. We've seen these before, but they have it in stock at a decent price. You get a bunch of blood splatters and weapons and a casket and all this fun stuff. Some eyeballs and brains and blah. It's fun stuff. If you want it, it's there. Also in stock is this Mothx Psylocke. If you like shiny boobies, $90. That's your price. This is interesting. A 12-inch foam ET for $35. Would I get this? No. But for what it is, it's not a bad price. If you want a little 12-inch ET floating around, you can get one. The Mezco Green Goblin is in stock, who is very, very, very tempting for your boy. Because I don't want to spend that much on him. But now that I've got 2 Mezco Spider-Mans, and I'm going to have different displays, because I have it in my head where these displays are going to go in the house. And I know what I want to do, and it's like, will I get one now, or wait? And I don't know. We'll figure it out. But he's there. Crystar. This is for Gojatron. He's in stock. I know he already has one, but if you were wanting a Crystar, you can get him. Same with this comic, New Warriors Namorita. Looking pretty good. She's got a little bit of stink eye there, like where's my coffee? And here are... I passed on these. I did pre-order these, but I've passed on them until I look at the King Features comic versions of these I have. So I have Ming and Flash Gordon over at the mailbox from this line, and I'm not going to pull the trigger on these unless the King Features strip version looks good. But you got Ming and Flash and Voltan looking really good, But I'm not dropping over $100 for these 3 guys if the other 2 don't look good. And they were on sale, one of those BBTS one-day sales. I feel confident and comfortable taking a look at those. Plus, I had the 1/18 scale version of those characters from the cartoon, which are very close to the strip when I was a kid, so it all made sense to me. But they're in stock if you want them. And then this, for your overpriced crap, here's a prop replica of the Barbasol canister from Jurassic Park for $400. It's made of aluminum and plastic, and and these vials come empty. I guess you can fill them up, I suppose. I don't know who this is for, unless you really want to do a film accurate, you know, Nedry cosplay. I don't know who this is for. I have no idea at all. None. Zero. Okay? Catching up with Chad here. Giraffe says, it's slag! We won a war over the Brits and call them a slag and drink tea at an affordable price. Fair enough. Salt is also out on Arctic. Not even enough snow to show him in PA. Fair enough. You see Arctic on clearance at yep, I bet. I totally get that. Salzburg liking the Triclops. Steven wants a Mafex Megalon with shiny. Of course you want a Mafex Megalon with shiny eyes. Dean's in the house says, wow, maybe we'll finally catch a TGL as it happens. Awesome, man. Thank you for being here. Definitely watch the replay. We got a brand new shiny intro. Just Jeff says, is it plastic from Saturn? Because those people are out of this world at that price. Yes, many of those at a weird price. For the Jurassic Park thing. For that much, I expect Newman to deliver it to me personally. I agree. I agree. Even Ted Millich is here to say, hey, everyone I caught part of alive. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Shaving cream should come in a mud pile. I agree. I agree. For $400, it better have real dino DNA. I mean, technically it does because the plastic's made from petroleum that's made from the fossils of dinosaurs. See what I did there? Real dinosaurs for $400. So, sorry guys, I'm having fun. All right, so moving back here, I also have just a real quick smattering of some video game related stuff to show you. I don't have a dog in many of these fights, but just so you know these exist. For those of you that have played games before and shit like that, maybe you'd be interested. But Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I believe is the remake of Final Fantasy VII, is up for pre-order. I've never been a Final Fantasy guy, but apparently Final Fantasy VII is the shit. And it's something that people have been waiting for a very long time. Joining the endless glut of miniature consoles, the Atari 400 Mini is coming, apparently. It's an emulator. I don't know why it matters to anybody. But it is here. It exists. For $120. Have at it, right? It's not for me, that's for sure. I didn't even know there was a third South Park role-playing game coming, but here it is. South Park Snow Day. And this is available on all the different consoles, by the way. I just happened to be showing PS5. Now, this is interesting to me. This is a extension cable for Atari to go with the brand new Atari system that's out, the 2600 Plus, which, until they do something with the firmware that someone jailbreaks it, it's not worth it for me. And a 4-foot extension cable is not enough, but that's not a bad price for something that's brand new and first party. So if you need some Atari extension cables, that's something that you can get. It's coming out on my birthday, which is fun. They also have new paddles coming out. This I'm excited about. $25 for brand new paddles that are compatible with classic Atari systems. You don't see that shit anywhere. So I'll be getting some of those after they release. I'm not pre-ordering these fucking things. But we have like 3 or 4 Atari consoles. You always need paddles. So, there you go. And then last but not least, I was just looking at this because I was like, we have everything. Like, but what is the big to do? But it has the unrated TV collection, along with, the Jackass the movie, number 2, 2.5, 3, rated and unrated, which is not bad. 3.5, and then Bad Grandpa and Bad Grandpa 0.5. The only thing you're missing is Jackass 4 and 4.5. 4.5 doesn't have a physical release out yet, but 4 does. But for $17, if you're even a casual Jackass fan, you should get that. I mean, come on. Get it, right? And I'm tempted to get it because I'm not sure if our TV collection is unrated or not. I think it is, but I don't know. I gotta find out. So we'll look at it. But this is apparently a pretty new release. So I don't know. I don't know. But again, if you're into that sort of thing, hit the wrong button. Don't do that. Don't do that. The Blu-rays are getting expensive, believe it or not. I have everything digitally, so if I really want to watch it in full depth, it's there. But the I wish they would re-release the Blu-ray in a set along with the new movies. I think that's what they're probably going to do, but I haven't heard anything about that. So, but I love to see Jackass getting some love here. Well, that's the thing with everything that's gone down with BAM and them. I don't think they'll ever have a crossover like that for CKY. But if he ever re-releases them on DVD in a big set, I'd buy it. And I know that a lot of people would because they're not easy to come by. You have all the Jackass stuff and they're rated. Yep, there you go. Ozzy says, new South Park game. Yup. Jason Garcia swears by Final Fantasy VII. Fair enough. And nothing wrong with that. These things exist for your pleasure, not for necessarily for mine. Now, at this point in the show, if you're a member of the Patreon or YouTube members and you want to be in the panel, now's the time to get in if you haven't already. I haven't been in there for the simple fact that, well, I didn't want to overcomplicate things, So, but I'm in there now. I'm ready to go. And if you guys want to get in on this conversation, by all means do so. You'll find the link on Patreon's feed and also on the YouTube members feed on the channel under community. Okay? Otherwise, I'm going to get started. If no one shows up, it's no skin off my nose. It's a feature for you to use and be a guest on the show and bring something new to the show every week. So the title of today's show is not Ben Stutley, but he's here. Welcome. You just got here in time for the discussion. You're not late. You made it through all the normal stuff. And now we're getting into the thing. So the title of today's show is talking about the Ouroboros of hobbies. Okay? Collecting is a hobby. Whether you collect physical media for music, film, video games, or toys, certainly different kinds of sports, certain kind of gameplay are hobbies. Fishing is a hobby. There's a ton of things that could be considered a hobby. And in chat, I want you to tell me what comes to mind when you think of the term hobby. Is it one of the things that I mentioned? Or is it something off the beaten path? Because certainly we're bound to open somebody's eyes to the idea of a hobby. So when it comes to the beaten path, I would say something that's kind of weird to say out loud, but is definitely true. Certain kinds of online games, competitive games, role-playing games, live games as a service, those are definitely hobbies. If you habitually play a specific game or specific game type, and you play it, at a regular interval all the time, it's very hobby-esque. And Destiny is an example of that. The Division is an example of that. World of Warcraft is an example of that. And they even use that terminology in their communication with their community. They're aware that some people are attacking the Destiny game in the same way that others may attack collecting or something like that. So even stuff like that qualifies as far as I'm concerned. So, have at it, guys. Bear 11 Charlie, does woodworking as a hobby? Yeah, that's something that I want to get into a little bit more. Get some tools and whatnot, get a little workshop in the house, because it's always been something that I love doing. I loved shop class. Dad was big on woodworking, and I love like recycling and changing furniture you get from like a flea market or something. So I like modifying furniture a lot. That's a good hobby too. We're going to get into that, Jason Garcia. Some people call it a hobby, some call it addiction. You bet. We're going to get into all of that. Payne's Toy Sample is here. Nice to see Aaron. Let's just stop in to say, hey, having some rough times at the moment, but hope you're doing better. I am doing very well, and I'm sorry things are not great for you. If you need to talk, rant, whatever, you know where to find me, brother. I appreciate you very much, and I hope things get better for you too. Largo says that a hobby is an excuse to retreat into the man cave or lair and decompress from adult stuff. That's a very good definition, I think. Very good definition. Jason Garcia used to be Warcraft addict. Now I just hop in occasionally. That's me and Destiny as well. Salzburg says, I've done competition shooting and getting back into that, but a little too fat for a running gun match. Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, it's good to see support for Payne in the chat as well. You are very, very welcome. If you need it, please avail yourself. Worldman Cardboard says making paper toys is a very niche hobby for him. And I think there's probably other people out there that do that don't really talk about it, right? So we have this wide range of things, depending upon how you look at it. If you're a connoisseur of cigars or certain types of liquor, where you're not drinking to get blackout drunk, but you can, you like to sample different things and wine tasting, all of these things are hobbies, right? And I don't think I know very many people that they only do one of these things. Usually there's a combination of them, right? And all things, Dean bringing it up, and I can't believe I didn't bring this up myself, but he says making music would be his official hobby. There you go. I mean, until you get paid for it, it's that's technically a hobby. And Keith Knight's in the house says, hello, Jimbo, me old mucka. I know it's not how you sound, but I can't not pronounce it the way you write it, right? Don't worry about being late, man. Don't worry about it. That's what the replay is for, okay? So what we're talking about, Keith, we're talking about hobbies and how some of them are just kind of a little outside of what people normally think about hobbies. We were talking about how all these things can be different things, but very few people, in my experience, have just one. Usually you have a couple, right? So for me, certainly music in the beginning was nothing but a hobby. And even to a certain degree, when I started taking it more seriously, it's still a weekend thing that you do. And it takes a while to get to a point where you're doing it more often or whatever. I would consider streaming to a certain degree a hobby. You guys know I collect all this stuff, but I haven't always collected all of these things. And, certainly playing certain types of games, they're all there, right? I even collect books. I bet you guys didn't know that. I collect hardcover editions of books from my childhood and then a handful of books from present day. If there's a modern day book I want to buy, I typically do the audiobook version of it. If I really, really, really like it, I'll get a hardcover edition of it. But my book collection is primarily books from my childhood. It's a little bit different. And you guys are not necessarily getting ahead of me, but you're giving me good segues. Keith says, I have many branches to my hobby tree. I think most of us do, and I love that you do too. Ian Sweeney says, I have lots of hobbies, but I guess the least likely one would be coloring. Okay. All right. And then Salzburg says, my problem is I go too all in, and then when I burn out, I have too much crap. We're getting there. So Jason Garcia says, I used to do fish keeping. Hate that it's considered a hobby when it's still pet care. And I would agree with that. I don't think that... I think that the hobby pet care divide would probably have to do with how many fish maybe you're taking care of, for example. That'd be my guess. But I wouldn't know where the line would be drawn for that. Would you? I honestly don't know. Some people like breed animals, and it's not a source of income for them. They just do it. You know, then you got other guys like my friend Derek who breeds snakes, and that's his primary source of income, right? But like Salzberg is saying, he goes all in on something and then burns out, and he has too much stuff. And I know he has a bunch of different things that he's talking about, toys and probably firearm stuff, probably the most of. And when you're in that situation where you're hyper focused on one of your hobbies at a time, the other hobbies will suffer, right? So I'll give you an example. After I left the music industry officially in 2011, I had moved to Iowa. I wasn't playing music, and I still am not technically. And I was kind of languishing a little bit, but I had taken a break. I'd taken a step back from a lot of stuff that I had been doing. I wasn't even listening to music that much. I was more getting into movies, taking in this thing called YouTube, stuff like that, and just kind of getting my bearings, but really focusing on my job at the time and my relationships at the time. And then I lost my job, and I've been watching Angry Video Game Nerd and Nostalgia Critic and stuff, and I decided I want to start collecting games again, and I went full bore into it to the point where doing game cases became a source of income for me. And then I hit a certain wall with it because I just couldn't afford to keep collecting and make my rent. So I kind of slowed down on that quite a bit. But then gaming became, kind of reignited my love of gaming, both modern and vintage. And I was moving forward with that. And that was something that was a lot of fun for me to do. I was dabbling in podcasting and content creation, and make no mistake, content creation, although it's a creative endeavor that's good for the soul at times, it's a hobby. Yes, it can make you money, but unless it's paying your bills, it's a hobby. So all these things, and I got so far into content creation that I wasn't really overly focused on games, and so you kind of go back and forth. Catching up with you guys, it says Jason Garcia says, at one point I had 6 tanks from 40 to 90 gallons. I think that crosses a line into hobbyist, but it's awesome that you had them. Salzberg updating says, living history, comic books, bass guitars, firearms, toys, movies. Yep, I get you. Ben is a bit of a jack of all hobbies, master of none, but they all cross over in some way. I think all hobbies cross over for the person. But I don't think one has to justify them by saying they cross over with each other. But if they do, that's great too. Too many ARs for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Dolls Not Drugs, welcome back to the show, says Pro Wrestling. Left after 20 years, gone tube, and back for 7 months now, every Saturday in Bedford, in case I ever want to check it out. Definitely, I think I would love to check it out. But getting me to leave the house these days is very difficult. It's not you. Not you. But I want to see it, for sure. Dean calling out Ben, asking about remote control racing. There you go. So I go back to wrestling every 10 years. There you go. Okay. So, I kind of dip my head into one thing, and then the other thing suffers, and I dip my head into the next thing, and the next thing suffers. But then they start to blend together, kind of like what Ben's talking about. And, it's interesting, to be sure, because you run into the situation where sometimes they bleed into each other, and it's not always like a thing, but then you find yourself stretching thin, right? But something will always suffer, right? So content creation, really focusing on that, and then that gets into using the streaming as an excuse to play the game. So I'm now doing these two things in tandem. Sometimes the movie stuff would kind of bleed over into that. And then I had to abruptly stop the content creation because my internet connection was so horrible for such a long time. And then that kind of went into me starting to collect movies again and music again, and then that led into the toys. And I would say I was buying less movies at the time because the toys were such a huge focus. And now I'm at a place where things are kind of in balance, depending on who you talk to. Because when I want a movie, I get one. When I want a toy, I get one. When I want a CD, I get one, which I need to get more of. And then collecting t-shirts. I mean, Lauren will tell you, I don't have a closet of t-shirts. I have a collection of t-shirts. And it was it's something that I don't set out to do, but it kind of happened that way, and I refuse to get rid of shirts unless they're in really a bad state of repair. But, you know, look at somebody who collects sneakers, and I go, what the fuck? Here's the thing. I may collect the t-shirts, but I wear them. Every single one that fits, I wear them, and even some of the ones that don't fit. But people with the shoes and like, oh, you gotta keep it in this case, man. You know, or collecting Magic the Gathering. My thing with Magic the Gathering or Pokemon cards is very simple. If you play the game with those cards and collecting them, I can totally understand. But if you collect them just to collect them, like just the cards, what are you doing? I don't understand that. If that's your thing, go for it. But I'm just saying I don't get it. TJC says, hope you're watching my stuff too. Not as much as I should be, but yes, I do watch your stuff. Just says, only time I leave the house is for doctor appointments, groceries at the start and middle of the month, or I'm cruising to Texas for a day or two to hang out with the homies. Gotcha. Yeah, pretty much in the same boat for sure. Or random toy hunting, which just doesn't happen anymore. Fair enough. Bear 11 Charlie says, used to collect hockey cards, but started getting too expensive. I don't understand this. It's paper. Lauren chiming in, the shirts are everywhere. So are your shirts. So let's not act like it's a me problem. It's a we problem. All right. So let's not go pointing paws at each other. But yes, the t-shirts are everywhere for sure. Jason Garcia says, at some point, every metalhead goes through that. 800 band shirts, but nothing to wear. I never have nothing to wear. I'll just show up the way I show up. In fact, the wedding that I went to, that I met Lauren at, the people getting married, very, very dear friends of ours, and she specifically reached out to me, the bride did, to ask me not to wear shorts and to wear a collar if at all possible. She knew I would show up in cargo shorts and a death metal t-shirt if given the opportunity. And she said, please wear long pants of some kind and a collar. And I did. And maybe that's why Lauren and I fell in love. Maybe not. Who knows? But they had to go out of their way to ask me. I've always got something to wear, dude. It's just a question of whether or not people want to see me in it. And Sweetie says, I initially thought I might get into collecting modern Superman comics, but all this half a dozen alternate covers business stopped me before I started. Fair enough. Bill Wifta says, I collect toys and I play with them too. And comics. And I read them. I'm the same way. I like to have things that have a practical use too. TJC says, once I have another job, I'll resume collecting my favorite YouTubers merch shirts as I wear them on my streams to promote them. That's awesome. I need to make some new merch. I do. I need to go back to the well and make some stuff. Without question. Ted likes to smoke meat. That's awesome because that's very practical too. Zazel in the Hizoo says, what's up, cool dudes with sunglasses, making it extra cool. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Ozzy does the same thing with the shirts. Yeah, I get you. Dean says, I used to collect the miniature Jack Daniels bottles empty from all the flights I was taking. One day I just chucked them in the garbage and became clutter. Yeah, I did the same thing with like beer bottles and beer cans, like something that you don't normally see, right? And I collected those for a while. And I had somewhere specific to store, to display them and everything. But it just literally becomes garbage, But I totally get it, though. Just as toys go to art, art is photography, photography is a nice focus and relaxation device. There you go. And that's a nice crossover, right? Ozzy's dad gets angry because he just wears metal shirts and a pair of shorts. I mean, my thing these days, if I'm not leaving the house, pajama pants. I have a specific kind of pajama pants that I like to wear. And then when it gets warmer out, I have a certain kind of shorts that I like to wear. But that might be changing because these pajama pants are so comfy. I might literally pick them up and cut them up into things. So we do have a guest here for the panel, which we were about to get to anyway. So I'm just going to bring him in because we're getting to that discussion phase of the subject. We've defined everything. Let's talk more about it. So I'm going to bring our guest on here to that. Let me switch the screen over for you guys. Let me just move this over. And go I got to make sure this actually is working. Bear with me a moment here, folks. Bear with me, Bill. You're not showing on the old screen yet, and I can't figure out why.
You bringing me in from StreamYard, aren't you?
I am, but I'm just trying to see. Where did I put you? I'm gonna cheat. Does that work? Okay, now it works. Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to make you big. There we go. So make you big. Cool. So now you're in here. I'm going to put on headphones, cats and kittens, so that it doesn't get echoey for you guys. So bear with me. Again, this is the first time we're doing this in this format. So please bear with me.
Do I need to turn that light off in the back?
Okay.
I think that light will be just fine. Turn the light on in the front.
I
and
can't
light
hear
off.
him yet until the headphones connect. Steven,
Overhead light on and then turn that light off in the back.
there we go. So we're all live here. Stephen S. likes to collect comic books and movies, certain figures really like, and megalons. Well, we all know about that one. Keith's a bass player of 42 years and 30 years active in music, World War II, Naval, Vietnam War, and Zulu War history, Titanic research, genealogy and ghost hunting, police collector, and history toy collector. God damn! Okay. Andy's in the house. Nice to see you. All right. Now, Bill, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. You're bigger than me on my own freaking show. How you like that?
Can we make us equally sized?
No, we can't. We're not doing that. No.
Okay.
No, I'll do that if it makes you feel better. There. Now we're equal size technically.
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Paula laughing.
So yes, hi Paula. By the way, so with hobbies, I find that there's an Ouroboros, which is a never-ending cycle of a lot of people. I think if you think of it as one big circle, you're going to this hobby and you're going ham on it, then you go to the next one, you go ham on it, and then like you just start to see things dwindle, and it's hard to juggle them because there's always that thing, that new shiny that gets you back into that one thing or the other. Like we even saw it today with people that were seeing certain video games they didn't know were coming out, or certain movies or places to get movies from they didn't know. They're like, oh, I should go do that. And I'll bet that if some of those folks really get into that, they're going to be buying games and movies and shit. Do you find that you have that at all with your collections at all?
Well, what ends up happening is I tend to get all in on something and then until I play it out. Does that make sense? You know, as you know, I collect magic because I'm a amateur magician, and I have a lot of magic in there. How often do I perform magic? Not very often. You know, and I'll get in a mood for it, and I'll sit there and I'll learn a routine, and then I'll put that routine into a show, and then I'll create a show, and then I'll do that over and over and over and over and over until I'm good at it. And then I do the show, if I do a show, and then I'm done with it for a little while. And when I mean a little while to me could be 6 months to a year, maybe more.
Yeah.
Until I get mood for it again, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I for me, it's that plus burnout oftentimes.
Yeah.
And whereas now I kind of feel like I'm a little burned out on everything, so I'm trying to keep it kind of more of an even keel. That's something's going to tip by the midpoint of the year, and I'm going to go hog wild again.
Yeah, and I do that with toy lines too. I mean, for the last 2 years, I've been all in on Masters of the Universe, but that's flipping to superpowers with the McFarlane superpowers. So I'm not done with Masters of the Universe by any means, but I might be done trying to buy the new Origins figures as they come out, especially since they've gone to Mattel Creations. That's if it were more like a toy store over there instead of like some kind of a freaking lottery, it would be more fun, but it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, go to Todd McFarlane's site when he releases his toys, and I can pre-order everything I want, and I can be pretty much guaranteed I'm going to get it. I can't do that with Mattel Creations, can I?
No, and just to kind of go over that, folks, over the weekend, Mattel Creations came out with, or was actually last Tuesday or Wednesday or something.
Well, that was Pasco, and it didn't turn out right anyway, did it?
Well, they did they did it like last week or the week before last, and then pushed it to like last Tuesday or something. And it was the Rock On release, and to their credit, they did put him out, and I was able to get one. But he shipped immediately, and he arrived today, which I thought was weird, in the sense that it's that situation where they had pre-made stuff and just shipped it out. Which I'm just like, why would you do that? And I'm looking at it right now; it's sold out, which I would expect if it's pre-made. But then I'm not seeing a lot of blowback of people not being able to get him. Everyone I know that wanted one was able to get it. And
did they fix the issue with the international orders?
I don't know. At the time that I ordered it, they still had a banner on there with that. But again, I haven't seen anything about people not getting it this time around. So it could be not. I don't claim to have that answer.
Yeah.
For example, Dean here said he's got completely out of Origins because it was getting too difficult to get him, and I completely understand that.
Yeah, I'm about the same way. Now, does that mean I'm done playing with my Origins figures? Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of stuff in there to play with, and I'm still making custom figures. As a matter of fact, I made a custom Red Beastman. If you watch some of my shows, you can see that. But getting into the superpowers is tons of fun because McFarlane's releasing stuff like the Skull Ship. I actually got my hands on one of those early from a friend of mine, Cape Master. And it's just that's where I'm at right now. But as far as collecting different things, I've got a huge DVD collection, and it continues to grow. But and do I watch them all the time? No. But if I need to watch something, I pretty much have it at my fingertips, and I know you know what that's like because I know you probably have the same thing there.
Oh yeah. Oh, we have. We're well over 1,000 at this point, I think. And it's I don't mind, like I have certain places I go through to get like digital stuff. So if I only have it on DVD, but I know they've done it in HD or 4K, and I can get the digital streaming version for like $5, I don't mind doing that. I know for a fact that eventually I'm not going to have access to that anymore, but it is a convenience factor. It's an upgrade, especially if the Blu-ray or the 4K either isn't available or is, it's not cost effective to get it, cost prohibitive to get it. That's the phrase I'm looking for, is to get it. But I always have the physical stuff because eventually, like there's been movies that I've had access to digitally because I have all the different streaming services, and like certain movies that I've been reliably able to get through either Max or Paramount Plus or something, and just randomly decided to go watch the movie and it's not there anymore.
Yep.
It happens all the time, and certainly that's something worth talking about down the road. But
and that happens with video games too, does it not?
oh, a ton. And I would say with video games in particular, if it's an always online game or it's like a live service as as a game, there's no reason really to have it physically at that point. But if it's something that can be played offline, then you should get it physically whenever possible. Coming back around to Dean, he says he has a weird obsession with wanting everything in a line, and if I miss out on something, it all feels a bit incomplete and therefore unsatisfying. That is the most extreme version of FOMO that I know of, and I've certainly had twinges of that with every toy line I collect. But you have to draw the line somewhere, and unfortunately, sometimes that means stopping collecting them. Sometimes it means looking yourself in the mirror and saying, "Do you really need, that particular character or whatever?" Which is what I normally have to do. Sometimes I don't win that situation. Example, I have a He Skeletor in the box back there that I bought secondhand because I just couldn't let it rest. I had to get one. Even though I don't want one, but I have one. It exists. And TJC, I see you. Thank you very much. I will definitely talk to you about that.
I passed on He Skeletor. The Motu line, there were figures I had to have, and there were figures I wanted to have, and then there were figures I didn't have. And I tried to make sure that I got the figures that I really, really wanted, which was the ones I had when I was a kid.
Right.
Got those. The vehicles, got the ones I had as a kid, got those. Same thing with the play sets. I've got all the play sets I ever had. So any new play sets that I might want to get, if I can't get them, so what? And the Superpowers line is an even different animal, because do I care about all those repaints that Tidy's putting out, all those gold figures? No, I don't, and I'm not even bothering with them. But do I want Brainiac? Yes, I do.
Of course you do.
Did I want Reverse Flash? Yes, I did. And did I find him in the wild? No, I didn't. Did I go to Evil Bay and get him? Yes, I did. However, I did not pay $800 for him. I didn't pay $100 for him. I didn't pay $50. I paid $35 for him with free shipping from Japan, and got here in less than a week.
And that's still more than some of us would pay for that character. But everyone has their standards. My question for you is, you're saying that you're winding down on Origins and you're focusing on Superpowers. Do you think that one influenced the other? So what I mean by this is this. Did you start ramping up the Superpowers and then you decided to ramp down Origins indirectly because of it, or was it vice versa, or do you think it was a natural thing that happened?
The natural thing. Look, okay. I hate Bill for saying this, but Origins line is winding down. They've moved it over to TGL Creations. There's only a little bit left to do, and what they will do that's not part of the original line, it's going to be stuff like Lady Hiss or whatever, and Slither.
Yeah, they're doing they're going to crowdfund the Snake Men layer as well.
Yeah, and stuff like that. They're doing that stuff. That's not stuff I'm particularly interested in. It doesn't hold anything to me. Now this happened as the Superpowers line was beginning to come out, and it came out in Walmart at first, which was really frustrating. If you remember the summer of
I remember
the summer of FOMO, where I went to Arkansas and went over the bridge and got over there and finally found them. And now you go to Walmart and you see like tons of John Stewart and Nightwings and not much else. So I've given up on trying to find them at Walmart. Yeah, I go to Walmart and go to the toy section and look, and I'm disappointed usually. But as I've found myself being able to go to Todd McFarlane's site when he puts them on pre-order, pick and choose what I want and get what I want, I'm more pleased with that. And I'm cherry picking that line. It's not like I'm going to be upset if I miss out on something, especially like something I wasn't going to get in the first place, like gold editions of the different superheroes. Who cares about that? I think there are plenty of people who do. I understand that, but it's not
for you. I basically the only thing out of there that I want is Sinestro, and I've already pre-ordered him in 2 places. I'm happy, but the only Superpowers figure that's new that I wanted and I have not been able to get yet is the Black Manta. That thing, you can't get a hold of him for love nor money. And it's to the point where I'm just going to get one of the 4-inch movie ones because it's not that much different looking. I just want the character, right? And I'm not going to pay $40-50 for that. And that's a good price on the secondary market, but here's the thing. There's other stuff on the secondary market that I don't mind paying extra for because I know it's that hard to get.
Not necessarily reverse flash, but I have a feeling we're going to see some Black Manas a lot more than what we think we're going to see. I think he's going to be like Moss Man here soon.
I hope so, but given the fact that he's one per case, unless they change their distribution on that, I don't know.
Well, it's the same thing with reverse flash. Those figures haven't hit the shelf because Walmart is letting what's on the shelf stay on the shelf until it goes away before they put that stuff on the shelf. I'm looking at Ross Dress for Less and Five Below and what was that other place, Ollie's that everybody talked. I'm looking for those to show up there at some point other than Walmart's
possibly. But but has there ever been a point in your collecting, for example, where the toy, like let's say before the pandemic would be the best example I would say, or even any time since, because your DVDs go up, you keep getting DVDs, you get them when you get them. Toys, it's the same thing. Did you ever find one collection or hobby suffering because the other one was going further up? Have you ever seen that, like where it wasn't intentional but it just kind of happened?
I can't say I have, but I do find myself skipping around, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to get so invested in a toy line that I feel like that if I miss one thing, I just got to give up on even collecting it. I've never been that invested in anything. And usually I found that my patience has always been a virtue, because eventually I've been able to get everything I've ever wanted if I just waited long enough, because it becomes available at some point or another. All these people scalping these Black Manas, eventually that's gonna go away and they're gonna become available. But the other thing is, I don't mind paying a little extra to someone, like even the Cape Master. I paid a finder's fee for that skull ship.
Yeah, I saw the listing and I was like, Mike, what are you doing? But I understand it. I do. The guy, that's how he makes his living, so I totally get it. I just choose not to participate in some of that. But it's a pick and choose, right? It's a pick and choose.
Well, here's the thing. I've got one on pre-order and I'm going to get it. So why did I get this skull ship early? Well, okay. Grindhead Jim will tell you what I do for a hobby, as well as collect toys. I'm also a YouTube content creator. What better thing to have is something now that people are wanting to see more of, to put on your channel to get some viewers to come in and watch you and maybe even subscribe. So was it worth it to pay $35 to be able to do that? Yes, it was to me. And it did get me some subscribers.
And that's normally a $20 toy, right?
$20 toy, so I paid $35 for it plus shipping. I also got a Clark Kent coat, so I got me a little coat to go on Clark Kent as well. So there you go.
Exactly. It all works out. Getting back to chat here, Bettery Bob says that he bought the entire Thundar Blu-ray set because it's hard to find streaming. That's a good reason to do that. And I think that that's true of a lot of things. I think that FOMO plays a big part of all this stuff. Even when we're talking about, say, like me playing Destiny, FOMO is a huge thing in Destiny, because it's like, well, you have this 3 months to play this specific content, and then after it's gone. And it's getting like a weird problem now. And then like Shout Factory and Arrow with the Blu-ray releases that they do, they're only around for so long because they don't do the biggest print runs in the world. How much does FOMO play a role in that? And I'll make an addendum here from Chad as well. Ben Sutley says, my dad always said, you can't have everything. Where would you keep it? Anywhere I can. Okay? I that's what I say.
Dad's probably right. And my toy room, if you've ever seen me in there trying to clean it out, that would be Dad being right. I mean, my toy room is
Oh,
like
for sure.
and
Same for me.
and as much as I try to clean it out, it stays a wreck. As a matter of fact, I got a little bit of room behind me, and what did I do? I went and got all my superpowers cases and stacked them up behind me so I could play with figures.
Yeah, definitely something similar for me. I mean, you guys all know my laments about this display and how it's eventually going to be there, but I still store things and so forth. And as we look at houses, that's a couple of the things that we're looking at is what's the viable space, you know, because really we're being realistic in the sense of I'm going to need like almost a whole garage or basement to do this and do this right. And making sure that space is there, but also storage space. So if we were to decide to say build, for example, one of the things I talked about, I told you about this, but chat doesn't know this. If we decide to build, which we're still like, we'll see who bids better, right? My perfect house would essentially be a split level, and on the bottom floor, the whole width of the house would be one long walk-through closet with shelves on both sides in the very front of the bottom level, just to make sure we have space to store stuff. And Bob's got a good point here, saying collecting is a marathon, not a sprint. I think that's true too. And you know, I've talked about in the past recently where I've kind of gotten to that place where I can certainly run at a slower pace than I was, because I was playing catch up. At least I felt. But then when I really take stock and look at what I actually have versus what a lot of other guys and gals have, I think I'm okay at this point. So I can, in terms of feeding the need to not miss out, feeding that FOMO, I've gotten to that place where I can relax a little bit more. And Robert, don't worry about being late. There's no such thing. You know, everyone's a wizard as far as I'm concerned. You arrive when you mean to, and that's why we keep the replays up for you. But going back to that question, do you find that the FOMO plays a role in that at all?
FOMO plays a big role in a lot of things, especially when it's something that you really, really, really want and you've been wanting for a long, long time, or it's something that suddenly you see it and you're like, I've always wanted that. I never knew I wanted it, but I want it, and I want it now. And then you feel like if I can't get it as soon as I can, I'll never get it, and somebody else will get it, or I'll miss out. And that's what FOMO is all about. And it can play a very big role in your collecting experience, because you can find yourself overpaying for something or getting anxious about something that, and then you find out later that it was all for nothing. And I'm looking right at Moss Man.
Mm-hmm.
Moss Man was a big FOMO item. People were putting him on eBay at ridiculous prices, and then suddenly here he is, 10 deep down at Walmart. I can go to Walmart right now, Jim, and I can buy as many Moss Men as I would ever need. Right now.
Yeah, and it's something that with his flocking, for example, I think the same thing with the flocked Panther too. I might eventually get a second one of each, keep them in the box, so if mine ever does start to, you know, lose its luster or whatever, it'd be nice to have a second one. I mean, this is the same kind of cycle. That is why I, for example, have several Supermobiles and several Batwings, you know, and that's the ones that I'm keeping for myself, not counting ones that were for other people or whatever.
If you need Supermobiles or Batwings, right now is the time to hit Walmart. I don't know. It may not be.
They're on clearance. That's why I have so many. I got friends that are like, hey, you want one? Yes. For that price, yes.
I bought another Supermobile and another Batwing at Walmart just the other day, one for $3 and one for $6.
Mm-hmm.
And the big one cost $3. It didn't make any sense. But yeah, I got those toys, and then my wife was like, well, what are you going to do with them? I might give them away. As a matter of fact, I got 900 subscribers just over the weekend. So that
congratulations, by the way.
You're welcome. And thank you. But I'm telling you, we may do a little giveaway. I mean, it could be something giveaway. Would you like to have a free Supermobile? Sure. Just stay tuned to Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. You may find out how to do so. But you know, it's the kind of thing that we can do. But did I suffer FOMO over that Supermobile? Grindhead Jim, I'll let you answer that question because you saw it firsthand, right?
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely. I mean, there's tons of stuff that happens all the time, and I have FOMO, and even Robert here is saying he's okay with FOMO, but fear of missing on a deal has been a thing this past few months. There's a point where things go on sale, and you need to go after it, and because it's a good price. I definitely understand that one as well, and I think that it can take many different forms. This fear that we talk about. Where you can't pass something up because the price is too good to be true, and sometimes it is. But I think all these things kind of link together like Lego or Duplo or Constructs or whatever your toy of choice is. And whether it's a Walmart exclusive or a Target exclusive or a convention exclusive, all these things are, they're always going to be a thing.
Well, here's my question, and it's not a question, yes no answer. It's more a rhetorical question. But if you missed out on it today, but you can get it say a year from now at a pretty decent price, is it worth waiting for it, or is it, or do you decide that since you can't play with it now, you might as well not ever even try to get it?
I would say that I'm neither of those things. I would say
Right.
that it's going to depend upon the item and what place it serves in my collection. There are certain types of toys and certain types of things that I know are always going to rise in value no matter what. And you have to do that math in your head. The amount they're charging extra for it if I missed out on something versus how long it would take for that price to cool down. And also versus how much you want that thing in the collection. Like using the He Skeletor as an example, I waited almost a year to get one, and it was not a horrible price to get, but I would not have. It didn't need them enough to rush out and pay triple price for them either.
Well, let me ask you this, Jim, and I'll give you a second to answer, and then I want to follow up on that. Are you buying toys because you want to have an investment that you can get a return on later, or are you buying toys for your enjoyment now?
Absolutely the second one, never the first. I always want to get good deals because I don't like spending more money than I have to. But I'm not a reseller as far as my collection goes. If I happen to accidentally have some extras, or maybe things that I don't need anymore in the collection, will I sell them and give someone a good deal? Of course, but I'm not even doing that for the profit aspect of it. I want a fair price based upon the fact that I've kept it good. But no, I absolutely do not collect for speculatory purposes. And anyone that does, I think that's fine. That's your thing. But if you want to speculate finances, you're better off doing the stock market, frankly.
Absolutely. And it's the same with comic books. I mean, I know people who, and one of them co-hosts my show. They have got comics in slabs. They can't read them. They've been graded, and now they're something to look at. They're a paperweight. I collect comics to read, and even if I can't get the original comic book, if I can get it in a collected edition, I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as toys go, a lot of times I'm buying toys not because I want a toy collection or a collection of these particular branded toys or these particular toys of this particular, say, show or whatever. I'm doing it because I want to have a set, a diorama of some sort. A perfect example of this: I've collected a girl toy line for years and years and years, and people look at me funny when they see me going after these things. And that is a line called My World that came out back in the mid 2000s.
But it has the diorama. So we've talked about this before.
Yeah, you build a mall with it. You can have your action figures go eat at Dairy Queen or something like that, or you can have your girl action figures go to Claire's and buy some jewelry. and you can make these funny scenes with it. I mean, you can have like Hulk beating up Spider-Man inside
Dairy
the
Queen.
building shop. You know, it
Yeah.
just anything like that I go for, because when you're going into making videos and action figure photography with your figures and making them do things, sometimes you're buying toy lines that you wouldn't necessarily buy. And I want to shout out to Wilhelm Toy and Hobbies, because he's turned me on to something that I wouldn't have normally thought about, and that's get off of that aisle that we normally go to when we go to Walmart, and that's the one with all those cool action figures on it, the Marvel Legends, and with like go the other aisle over, the one with those kid toys on it, the one that's got the little set with some divers and a bunch of sharks that can eat them, and
Right.
a little boat ride in. And it's not branded anything. It's kid stuff. That's what it's called. That's the brand, kid stuff. There's tons of stuff over there with play value and
Oh, yeah.
diorama. Go over to Imaginext.
Yep.
Imaginext sells a Green Lantern OA set that works just fine with your superpower set.
There's tons of examples of that stuff. There's a ton of great toy makers out there doing amazing things with that. But to kind of...
That's the future of toys, by the way, folks. It's not over there where we're collecting the toys. That stuff's going to go away when we die. It's that stuff over there on that other aisle, the one that you're not going to, that you need to go to. That's the stuff that kids are going to be playing with in the future after we're gone. My opinion.
I believe, and it's not that big of a difference. And to kind of bring that back to the subject of the discussion, that's an Ouroboros of the hobby, this hobby itself. 118's coming back in a big bad way, even if people don't realize it, and the stuff is out there. So even though we individually might be cycling from hobby to hobby, the hobbies themselves will then come back around. What's old is new again, kind of a thing. So just to put a kind of a wrap on this conversation and the panel, is there anything that any last things about that cycle that you wanted to say before we go, Bill?
I'll just say that it's been a long, crazy ride, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but the ups and the downs are all part of it.
I think that's a great way for it. So, I appreciate you being part of the panel this week. We'll have you on again for sure. And you have a great night, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Cheers, brother. There you go, Bill Wifta. If you're not already subscribed to his channel, you are doing YouTube completely the hell wrong. I will just say that as politely as I can, because Bill is freaking amazing, and I'm really grateful that he was there. And again, if you want to be on that panel, any given week, any given show that we do, all you got to do is click the join button on YouTube, the subscribe button on Twitch, or go over to Patreon and become a paid member there. And the link will go out there every week. You'll be able to get in there, and we'll have discussions about whatever we're talking about. And if I don't have a set topic, we'll probably find a theme and find something to talk about. So Bill is the first. I'm really happy that he was the first, and all of you that are our members have access to that. So, and we'll continue to evolve that as it goes. But like I was saying with him, these cycles will always occur. You might focus on one thing, move to something else, come back around, do this whole thing. As long as you are happy, healthy, sheltered, fed, taken care of, it doesn't matter which one you're focusing on, as long as you're doing it in a healthy, productive way that makes you smile. If you're not having fun, stop. And even if that means going on to the next thing, that's fine too. It's okay to have these cycles. It's okay to have these changes in your collections and your hobbies. But don't be afraid to keep your eye on the stuff over time, because you never know when the next new hobby is going to pop up, right? So I want to just catch up a chat ever so briefly, and we'll get out of here. I do see that Ben and Dean are having a bit of a cool discussion. Says, I'm lucky enough to limit my OCD to completing childhood stuff, but he's asking if content creators ever resent having to buy the latest release for content creation. I did try to do that in some cases, and I just stopped doing it because I want to do it for my collection, and the content is born of the collection, not the other way around. But there's plenty of people that do that, and Dean also gave that up a long time ago. With some channels get the items in advance, and it's always the first with their videos. So what's the point of trying to keep up with the Joneses? I agree with that. In TJC's case, he's lucky because he plays mostly retro games on his channel, already own them, but does buy modern games and when that he wants when he can, but only the ones he wants. He's not going for a completionist series per se. And Ben also chiming in. It's the same with radio-controlled channels as well, offshoot channels as well. They release, and it's old news for everybody else. So again, it's another type of Ouroboros itself. It's really interesting stuff. And then commenting on the kid stuff and off-brand stuff. Look at what Chad did with his Cobra missile base. Absolutely. These are cool things to adapt, for sure. Better Ray Bob bring up Kid Connection, Adventure Force, Dino Valley. Have some great and affordable sets. Gojatron has some amazing videos about some of that stuff. For those of you that don't know about it, definitely look that stuff up too. If you're not subscribed to him, you're doing YouTube wrong as well. Ben says, same as you guys are saying, but buy it because you want it. Exactly. If you want to collect something, collect it for sure. And Andy is saying that World Meta Cardboard does like some of the Kid Connection playset. There you go. Stephen S. asking, are we ever going to get a HasLab Black Series Blockade Runner? It's a good question. Will it be of the same quality that we saw a year or so ago from our good friend? I don't know. I really don't know. But if you look at a Black Series Blockade Runner would be the size of a house. But I wouldn't put it past Hasbro to do it. Vintage Collection, I think we might see it in, and even then, I don't want to think about how much that would cost. But that's all there is to it. So, Robert says, for me, my channel is where I'm going and collecting, and it doesn't matter. New, old, this is my adventure. Not about being first, but about being sometimes how. Absolutely. So, we've said it a billion times on this channel. Whatever hobby it is, do it because it makes you happy. Do it because it brings you joy. And then if you do make content, share that joy with others, and there's not a way to go wrong. Speaking of which, World Meta Cardboard says, I always take a trip down the Imaginext aisle. Great toys there. What more can you say? And there's no better place to get a great community than right here, because you guys really are the best. Thank you for making this truly inaugural revamp of TGL everything it should be. And we're going to continue to iterate. I hope you're enjoying the new format. Keep the feedback coming. It means a lot. And I love you guys, and we'll see you next week. So until then, may all your card backs be straight, may all your grinds be merry, and may you be able to find anything you're looking for at any given time at a price you feel is reasonable. Good night, and have a great week. Cheers.